You're on.
Well, good morning. You know, about 700 BC, the prophet Isaiah foretold of the coming of baby Jesus. And he said it this way in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. And of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. I'm so thankful for that today. Let's pray. Father, we are grateful for Jesus. We thank you, God, for his birth. We thank you for his death and yet his resurrection. For he came to earth to show us a better way to live in a world that he died for. Thank you for these commissioners today and everyone that represents someone in this room. Bless their families, their times together as we celebrate the birth of Christ. Thank you, God, for loving us when we are unlovable. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Call this meeting of Fayette County Board of Commissioners to order. Stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes.
Madam President, I make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Highway Department, Mr. Corum.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Don't really have too much other than everybody's been patching. Just kind of waiting for the ground to freeze a little bit so we can do a little bit of berming. And then when we get into berming, we'll be berming. When we're not berming, we'll be taking care of winter. So, and then touching up a few things. Got kind of a project going on right now. Our pre-treat truck, old number 8's got the belly blade on it. Well, the cab was coming off of it, so we ended up converting another truck into our water wagon truck and dust lay and pre-treat truck. So we got that going on right now.
Okay.
Richard, how soon will you start on replacing cans for next year's Crossroads?
We
grant?
try to wait till we're not really plowing anymore, because if we replace, these guys are forgetful, so if we replace a culvert and it snows and they get hit that with a plow, it'd be a pretty bad deal.
Okay.
Usually that's when we know it's going to warm up and we don't get no heavy snow, we have to plow, that's when we start. But 300 and 200, them are ones that we're going to hit right off the bat. Yeah, get them done as soon as
Are there
possible.
several in Alcorn Road?
Alcona's got the most, and the big ones, the bigger ones.
Okay.
But they're going to take care of that. That's all part of this.
Okay.
We'll
Part
take care of the
the
other
corrections.
ones. So we try to give them the most and the big ones. So
Okay.
Correction Crossroads.
Okay.
that's it.
Is the tank in operation now?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So we'll be able to continue spray patching then?
Well, we got everything put up for on that part because we didn't know if we was going to get that all lined out this year or not. So, as far as the oil and everything else. So.
You did get over the bids that reviewed the bids that we got last week.
Last
I mean,
last time we did.
Okay.
We going to do that today or?
Your recommendations on,
If we can accept them all, it'd be good. If we could.
do we necessarily, can we pick out the emulsions so that we're under one company, or can we pick out the particulars that you want to keep?
Well, the lowest would be better, but
I mean, I didn't see the need for the emulsions. The stone is located in different areas, and it makes more sense to pick up.
you never know what could come up. I wish we could, if we could, just accept them all. I mean, that's your guys' call. But we had some problems before in the past with one company where they wouldn't get us our oil at a certain time where we needed it, so we had to go to a different company which was a little bit higher. So that's my only concern. But we usually accept them all, but if you guys got different plans, that's totally up to you.
Could you kind of explain how, when you're getting these roads treated, when we've got a snowstorm, when you can use salt, when you can't, and a little bit about that?
As far as,
When it'll work and when it won't work?
it just varies on the temperature more than anything. I know when we go to pre-treat, we usually use a liquid, but if you got rain coming in, then we gotta use the salt itself because it just washes the liquid off. And then we try to always do our main routes with pre-treat. We can't do all the roads in the county with pre-treat because we just can't do that. We just got one truck for that, so.
On the salt, or sand and salt spreader boxes, do you, are the mechanics going through and calibrating the spreaders?
We haven't done that in probably a couple of years or so.
Well, this last time, I noticed up in our area anyway, there wasn't a real good pattern. It's not spread, whatever trucks are out
Wide
there.
enough, or?
Yeah, it just seems like it's dumping more out right directly behind the truck than actually spread.
Yeah, we can usually adjust that.
And I think we just need
Go
to maybe
wider.
look at those
Okay.
and make sure that we're running efficiently with that. Because it just appeared up in this area that most of the sand and salt, it
Drop to the center and not,
dropped in the center rather
Okay.
than a good spread pattern. So
okay.
I just wondered how often we'd
Since I've worked down
recalibrate.
there, we've never done it, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
I just wonder if we could get those adjusted, fine-tuned a little bit better to spread it out a little more and give us a little better pattern, maybe.
We can definitely look into that.
Do we want to make a motion to accept all those bids or to accept the bids?
I'll move to accept the bids.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to accept the bids for Richard to decide who he wanted to use for each item. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Gray?
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
I
sir.
have a quick thing to go over, service contracts on the heating and cooling systems for all the buildings. I had a contract from North, or not a contract, but a proposal from North Mechanical at $20,239 a year. Johnson come in with their proposal at $15,587. I suggest we stay with Johnson's. That's who our service has been with for several years, and it's all the same service. So
Johnson's will cover all 3 buildings then?
yes,
Okay.
yes, it's the same. It's all 3 buildings.
And exactly what, through this contract, what does Johnson's do for us?
They take care of all of the chemical and all the heating and cooling regulations on the computer at the jail, all the glypho and all that. They test all that. They take care of all the preventive maintenance service on the inside of the equipment in all the buildings.
Basically, they take care of the heating and cooling
Yeah.
side of
All
that.
there, yeah.
Do they take care of the air handler? Is that?
The air handling system.
Handlers are part of it
Yeah,
too?
yeah, that's part of it.
Madam President, I make a motion that we approve the request by Bill to accept Johnson for 2018 service contract.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
The boiler at the jail is in. They'll fire it today.
So it's all in and done, they're just getting ready to fire it up. I want to be over when they fire it. The lights in the jail are looking great. Looks like day in there now, so it really made a difference. I've got Duke Energy here, he needs to speak to you about that, so.
Progress on
Yes.
glass?
On the glass, I've called MirrorWorks several times, no response. Maybe one of you guys will give him a call.
Okay.
Well, I haven't seen a bill yet, so.
No,
That's a
we
good
haven't
thing.
paid a bill on those yet. And I suggest we don't until
Until it's
we hear
complete.
something, because I was gonna ask if we'd done that, I hadn't seen one. Okay. If we can get this signed, and I'll get it to him today. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As you know, we're doing the lights in the jail. We're getting ready to start in the annex. I made an error on the jail. There was an error made in the count in the cells. They're actually double. They use two ballasts. They actually have two switches, 64 fixtures that somehow got missed. All I can say is I don't normally miss my jobs. We double counted all the other jobs that we've looked at for you guys. I guess there is no good news. The total cost to fix my error was a little over $9,000. Now everybody breathe. We got some additional money from Duke. We kicked in some additional funds. The total is less than 5% of the project, came down to $707. So we stepped up to the plate as much as we possibly could. We went to Duke for some additional funds, and to complete the job correctly and double ballast and double those in the cell is an additional $707. We don't need an additional signature or anything. It's literally just because it's well under 10%. It's actually right at 5%. It's just you have to be made aware and give me the okay to finish correctly. And I feel like a knucklehead, I'm sorry.
First mistake you made this time, right?
Yeah, since probably 8 o'clock this morning. Yeah. There'll probably be 2 or 3 more before the day's out, but like I said, I did go to everyone and say, what can we do to rectify this? And we got it as tight as we possibly could.
Well, we appreciate that. I'd make a motion to accept the change on the jail project.
I second that motion.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you, otherwise I was getting a very small paycheck right before Christmas. So, okay, like I said, no additional signature needed on that. It's on record, and it's been accepted.
Bring up the annex before you leave, Kenny.
At the same time last time I was here, I was asked to look at a couple other projects. The courthouse being one. The courthouse is too large for our program. It does not qualify. There are certain qualifying factors. The courthouse was just big. The annex does qualify, and I think you guys have a copy of that in front of you. The total on that one was $17,756. The cost to you guys after Duke pays their money was $11,088. Pretty nice. It's about a $3,300 a year, or excuse me, $3,400 a year annual energy savings on that facility. If you're wondering why it's not getting quite the same amount or percentage as the jail, the lights don't run as long. The jail has a lot of 24/7 lights. This is more of a 40, 45 hour, more like a standard office hours. So the savings and everything is based on, if they're not on, there's really no savings, so we can't give them credit. We've tried that in the past, doesn't work very good. So that was the annex, and the other one I was asked to look at was out at the highway department where the animal shelters.
The annex, you said customer's contribution is how much?
Customer's contribution on that is $11,088.32.
Okay, because the sheet we have says 11,671.92.
That is the, if you make payments, but down, remember, we got
Okay,
the 5%
all right.
additional lump sum down at the bottom. So yeah, there's
Okay.
almost $600 we're taking off because you guys do lump sum. So,
I understand that.
so nice additional savings there. And then over at the government highway, which was the highway department and where the animal shelter is. Yep.
So it's not where the highway department
No.
Is that? Okay, well,
Highway department's down on 121.
okay, wherever the animal shelter
That's
is.
the animal
That's
shelter.
up on Michigan Avenue.
Okay. Okay, that was the other one I went and looked at, and it's listed under Duke as the highway department. I went over there, it was the kennel, so I wasn't sure. So I did an audit for the kennel with the cats and the dogs, and
Yeah.
so anyway, they have a lot of very older lights, so they actually are getting a pretty good chunk from Duke. Even though they don't run that long, they're much higher wattage. So to switch them down, it was $29.48.95. Your contribution would be $1237.23, and that's got a $1,023 a year annual savings. They're using a lot of old screw-ins, old T12s, old incandescent bulbs
Yeah.
over there. So that's a really good looking project. And apparently there's another highway building I have to go look at. It was, I just went by what's in the Duke system. So next time I see you guys after the first of the year and after a great Christmas, I'll have the highway department for you. I apologize for
I
that.
think it's 1917, 121. I think that's the address, I'm not sure.
I'll get the address from Bill, what the other facility I was supposed to go look
Okay.
at. I was surprised when I went over there and it was cats and dogs.
There is a building that the highway department used to do signs that's down on the side, but there's really not any.
I saw that, they said it's really not used anymore, and so.
Yeah.
Oh,
It will be.
excuse me, I did go to the new highway department, because I realized after seeing the animals that that wasn't the actual highway department. So I apologize. It's a newer facility,
Yes.
new lights, it didn't make any sense.
Right.
The project didn't make any sense, so,
Okay.
sorry, I'm not good in front of. This is the once a year I get to get in front of people. So yes, I did look at the other highway department. The older building they're not really using, that may have made some sense, but they didn't have the lights on enough to look at it. The other building is a new building. It didn't, the numbers didn't make sense to upgrade a building that's only a couple years old. So that was
Well, that's good.
my take on that. Questions for me?
No. The annex, I don't think we're going to do
Yeah, hold off on that
at
one.
this time.
Yeah, I think we're
Yeah.
gonna hold off on
There's some
that.
changes being made, and we don't want to make any decision until we see what's
Sure,
going on.
it makes sense. That wasn't that great of a savings project.
It's pretty long payback.
Yeah, it was. It
Um,
was, because you've got a lot of newer lights over there too, a lot of the T8s, the newer stuff.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you very much.
absolutely, thank you. You guys have a Merry Christmas.
You too.
What do you say?
You go ahead.
Let's see, Sherry's not here. Jana?
Me? Well, I have two things. The probation department wants to apply for 2 separate grants through the Drug Coalition. I have received grant money in the past for this. Probation officer Lindsay Tandy actually wrote these grants, so I'm not going to take credit for it. She did all the work. The first one is for juvenile probation third millennium classroom. It's a web-based class. It would fund 25 of these classes at $35 per course. This would be used for juveniles under the age of 18. We've had a rise in the number of youth that we drug screen. Ryan Siggers, the juvenile probation officer, does most of these for marijuana use. And this is a marijuana education course that we have an extra laptop at work. They would be scheduled to come in. They go through the course. It's getting education about marijuana use, what it does to you, dangers of it. They have to take a pre and post test. This Third Millennium takes care of everything as far as scoring, giving us results. We did one similar in the past for shoplifting. I love the program. It was just most of the juveniles we couldn't hold accountable to pay the $35. So this grant would cover that. And then the second grant is to apply for, on the adult side, for instant screens. This is for $2,025. It would buy 300 instant screens at $675 a piece. Several reasons for this. It's an immediate response. While they're on probation, if we suspect that they're using, we would know immediately what they're using and be able to respond to that as a sanction and/or what treatment do they need. We also sometimes test for prosecutor's office prior to sentencing. It could be part of a diversion program or have an effect on sentencing if we know what someone's using immediately. And then it's also cost effective. It doesn't cost, to send to the lab. We're paying, I want to say it's $14. If they did an instant screen that was clean, we would not be sending it to the lab. We would know that there's nothing in their system, so it would be cost effective. The other thing is there have been a few officers have actually made arrangements and taken probationers to facilities in Indianapolis for detoxification, and they get there and they're testing positive for benzos and they won't take them. As crazy as it sounds, they won't take them if they're positive. So it would help the probation officers to coordinate that we know when we take them that they're going to get into the program. We know what's going on. So I would come back. I don't know if we would get the full amount. This is what we're asking for those. If we are awarded the money or a part of the money, I would be back. Have this go through Diana Wright and get her approval. I know if you accept award money, you have to attend so many meetings of Drug Coalition. You have to provide the data. Lindsay Tandy does regularly attend the general meetings of Drug Coalition, so that's not going to be an issue. So basically, I don't know if you would want to approve on contingencies or if you want me to come back, but I wanted to let you know what we were doing. It was submitted on Friday, but we haven't heard anything yet. And if you didn't want us to, we wouldn't have to accept the award money, but it was kind of a quick grant.
You will be checking with Diana?
Yeah, it'll go. I'll provide everything to her, have her review it all. I'll wait and see if we get it awarded, and then I'll give it to her to make sure she doesn't have any questions or
Cart before the
anything.
horse there, to get it awarded before you take it to the grant writer?
Well, we wouldn't have to accept that. It was the timeline was so quick that I wasn't going to have the opportunity to come here. We just submitted it on Friday. So, we wouldn't accept it if it weren't awarded. I would let the Drug Coalition know that. They could redistribute that money.
Okay.
So what are you asking today, Jenna, again, for us?
It's either to give you a heads up on that, and I can come back in January for the commissioners meeting and give you the final information if we do get it awarded. If you want to do contingency to accept it after approval of Diane Wright, that's fine too. It's kind of up to you guys. I just wanted to make sure you knew what was going on because it was so quick.
Okay. So really, it could be used just as information today?
Yeah, it can be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lauren, did you have anything for us?
Just have one thing, I'm working on the design and construction documents for the community crossings paving projects for next year. We have to have a contractor signed by April 15th or we lose the funding. So I plan to have the documents and plans ready in January, and then it's a month of advertisement and awarded hopefully in February. And,
I know I got an email from Kim Bodell or one of her co-workers about trying to get all this done, and I wasn't sure what was going on.
It's sort of backwards. They won't give us the money until we get a award to contractor. So hopefully they'll give us the money, but it takes a couple months. I guess that's why they're pushing it.
Could we see a copy of that prior to, in time to read through it?
Yeah, we can go over it. Yeah, I have several questions about the design, and I want to go over with you sometime next month or so before we.
Yeah, because
Okay.
there were some things that I've learned from this year that
Yeah,
I'd like to see us try to do differently for next year, and so
Okay.
on and so forth.
yeah.
Just wanted an opportunity for a sit down
Mhm.
prior to the official, making it official.
Okay. Well, I did all the surveying and all measurements, and now I'm calculating quantities
Okay.
and figuring out the documents. And so I'll get with you sometime and go over.
Okay. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
I see Adrian back there.
Yeah. Adrian?
Very little. I received an email from a consulting firm about Title VI, their plan.
Yes.
I got the email, but no plan. So I responded back, I want to get it so I can read it. And also a reminder that we talked about, Gary, about putting on a NIMS overview for U3 after the second meeting in January. I think that's the 16th.
Yeah, this is NIMS. Adrian would like to give the three commissioners an overview of NIMS program, and I suggested that maybe we have a work session during or at the end of our commissioners meeting.
Yes.
Whether we take a break for lunch and come back after lunch or whatever, but you said, what, an hour?
An hour.
and a
I want to
half.
give you an overview. NIMS went into effect January 1, 2006. Homeland Security, or Presidential Declaration 5 under George Bush. After Hurricane Katrina and 9/11, there were a lot of problems that came up. NIMS was a tactical answer on how to deal with this. It's now mandatory for everybody. I wrote a NIMS ordinance and submitted it. It takes away a lot of arguments about who does what, and it gets rid of somebody being king of the hill, and that's the last thing you need. But most importantly, Leo, it's good to see you back. And other than that, Dan Parker's not here. I had something I wanted to embarrass him, but he's not here, so I have to wait till another day.
He said he'd be attending the first meeting of the month.
I can embarrass him then.
Yeah.
But I will. But other than that, the other thing is I got notification in my district Homeland Security meeting last Thursday, and I distributed emails to the emergency departments about Narcan. They're available for a grant to get it directly to them, and I think a lot of times it goes through the health department. It's in addition to the health department, so I sent out the form for the grant, so hopefully some can take advantage of it and there's no cost. And that's it. You're killing me, Mark. You're killing me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And Paula's not here from the health department, and she has a grant for the Narcan Rescue Kit grant for first responders, and she wanted approval to to apply for these grants. I'm assuming it's the same thing Adrian's talking about, but she's not present today, so she asked me to ask for that.
I would make a motion that we allow her to apply for this grant for rural communities.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to allow Paula to apply for this first responder grant from the naloxone rescue kit. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Cemetery Board, David Caldwell.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Shane.
Just want to let you know what's happened with the Cemetery Commission. To give you a little census, and I'll give that to you because we just kind of did it ourselves. I'm told there's over 100 pioneer cemeteries in the county, but we don't know where all of them are. About 67 of them have been located and identified, and the Cemetery Commission oversees them. Of those, the county distributes funds to allow for mowing of 20 of those. And the other 47 care for the other 47. They're totally dependent on volunteers. This is a map showing the locations of the cemeteries that are, the pinpoints are in the locations of the cemeteries that are accessible by road. And we're working with Donna Schroeder on getting a map like this. We're going to review it and make sure we got it as right as we can. We'll have a map like this in the kiosk out here by the in front, and hopefully to replace she has a county map in there now. This is the same map. It's a very good map the surveyor department supplies and includes locations of a lot of the cemeteries, but we'll highlight them, and that way tourists can see a good map of the county as well as see where some of the cemeteries are located. Down here we've got some verbiage about the history of the cemeteries, and over here we're naming them all and indicating who's caring for them. And the hope there with this map is that some people are going to see blanks there and volunteer to help out.
That would be wonderful.
Yes, it would. You supply us a lot of the funding for the mowing and other things, but the main thing we need is volunteers. So this is an effort to reach out to volunteers and get folks to help do this work. Summarizing events during 2017, you folks have helped us get secure storage, and between the lines what I'm saying is we didn't have anything stolen this year as we did last year. We were able to use the emergency response building to keep the valuable stuff, the string trimmers and generator chainsaws, and that's worked great, but we have to leave. So we are out of there now, and you got us a space in the animal shelter. David was really hospitable about that, and then Mark then found us space at the highway department, which is a little more suitable in that it's heated and lit well and equally secure. So we started moving into the animal shelter, and then before that was completed, we are now completely, as far as I know, I think we got everything down to the highway department. So thank you for letting us go there. It's a real good spot for things to be kept, lit and secure. The training, we had a training session at the Robinson Chapel Cemetery led by Mark Morton of the Cemetery Conservators, and we had over 30 people come to it from over 5 different states. People travel a long way to learn these things, and he trained them as well as us, so we're all better able to take care of things that we do. One of the things we did that day was to honor Dave and Cindy Nickel, who you know, who have been really a real bulwark for the cemetery, pioneer cemeteries, and we just recognize all the contributions they've made when we did that. Amy Brumfield, who is going to be the president of the cemetery board, got certified, completed a cemetery care certification through the Cemetery Conservators for United Standards by upgrading the Green Cemetery. That means she's competent to use proper procedures for not just cleaning and mowing, but straightening and rebuilding stones that have been broken. They have, that needs to be done right so it lasts and so the stones are secure. Fundraising, the VFW, besides county funding, which we're grateful for, the VFW again this year hosted a fundraiser, and they've been they maintain a fund that we can draw on to get supplies and parts through that. So they've been invaluable. The VFW has really supported us. Records. There's quite a few records left over from when the county had a department, and since then, since the commission has been mostly volunteers, there's a lot of records that of minutes of the meetings and a lot of historical records. And those have been kind of handed around between the Nichols and Amy Brunfield has them now, and they're county property. So we're now have the opportunity to store those records over in the recorder's department. Back in the records room, where Bill Gray's rounding up a file cabinet for us that we can put those in. We'll digitize them through the machine sitting there so that we have a backup. And that file cabinet will be in the records room so people doing genealogical work can go in there and access our records as well. It's just a really good thing to do. And we're really grateful for Ruth Nutty to help us move on with that. The last thing that we have going on is this map. We intend to have a map like this in not only in the publicly viewable in the kiosk, but back in the records room and probably down at the library in the history room there. And we'll talk to the history museum when they move and see if we can put one there as well. So anyway, thank you very much for all the support you've given us. It's been great, and a lot of people are very interested in this.
Thank you for all the work. And
Thanks for all the work.
And David's term on the board has expired. I said your term on the board has expired.
Yes.
And we will be needing a replacement. So anybody that's interested in serving on the cemetery commission, please give me a call. You can call me.
Amy rounded up one person who would step
Okay.
in.
We still need one more.
Right.
We're still short on board members for the cemetery commission. So thank you for all that you've done and that you're going to continue to do, because although he's not going to be on the board, he will continue to take care of several of the cemeteries. Thank you very much. Thank to all the people that work for that. Colin, do you have anything for us? And mail, I received a letter from Jeff Plaster, who's head of the Eastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission, and we have new appointments to be making, and I'll talk to you fellows about to see who can attend. Some of the appointments we had this past year were not able to show up at the meetings, and if they can't attend the meetings, and I have the applications. So this was mail that I received from Jeff about that. Is there any other mail? Old business? New business? Tony Vai,
Correct.
Elevatus Architecture.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for taking the time to meet me. My name is Tony Vai. I'm an architect at Elevatus Architecture. We specialize in justice architecture. And the reason why I'm here is Elevatus used to be Schinkel Schultz. 2 years ago, the founding partners of Schinkel Schultz had parted ways, and the Fort Wayne office had did an asset purchase of the office, and as a result had to change the name of the Fort Wayne office to Elevatus. So the same people, the same resume, and the same expertise in Justice Design, just a different name. And the reason why that's important is Schenkel Schultz, i.e. Elevatus, designed your existing jail back in 1986, which is quite a while ago. In fact, Schenkel Schultz didn't start designing jails until 1984. So your jail was probably one of our first jails. And I had met Commissioner Naylor at the Commissioner's Show, and he approached me and said, I've heard a rumor that our existing jail was designed to expand up. And I said, you know what, this is what I'll do. I will dig out the drawings out of the archives. I'll take a look. And he said, in the meantime, why don't you come introduce yourself? And I did, and I found your drawings here. And if you'd like, I'm prepared to talk about, and instead of just tell you about it, I'd like to open the drawings and show you. I think it'll make more sense to you.
Neil, you want to come up and look at these as well?
Do I have to?
Well, I'd like for you to be part of this.
So anytime we talk about expanding a building up, the first thing everybody thinks about is the foundation designed for another floor load? Is the roof structure designed to be a floor and not a roof? And when it comes to jails, there's actually an easier tell-all sign, and that is got to do with daylighting. Now, when you build a confinement facility, there are codes and humanitarian regulations that you must meet. One of them is daylighting. That's one of the biggest ones. And each inmate is entitled to a certain amount of daylight. So to get the daylight into the cells in the day rooms or the blocks, you can go through side windows or you can go through skylights. Okay. In your jail, with your jail design, you can see we've got a cell block here, 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 and then that's mirrored on this side, and it's here, here, and here. Now along these cells, there's exterior windows. Okay. Even here, this is outdoor rec, so it gets natural light in here, and even in here. But these inboard cells along here, they don't have any direct window natural light. But you see these squares here, and here, and here. And if we flip to a roof plane, which is just a floor plane of the roof, you see them again here. These are skylights.
That's all.
Yeah. So the skylights are being used to get that required natural daylight in here. Once you build up, we gotta go away. Okay. So that very simple study tells me that this was not initially designed to go up. Now, I'm not a structural engineer, but I will address the structural component. So we're going to flip to structural engineering drawings, and I'll point out a few things. Okay. Oops, when you design a building, here, I'll get out of your way. When you build on grade or in a basement, your concrete slab only has to be 4, 5, 6 inches thick. When you build an elevated deck or a first floor above a basement or a second floor, it has to be built so strong to hold the occupants, the furniture, and anything that you're going to put in the file cabinets. When you build a roof, it only has to be designed to hold a certain loading, and this part of the country, it's snow load is what kind of drives that. So with that in mind, your roof, when you design for a roof, it doesn't have to be built as strong as a floor. Okay, so when I come here and I look at the structural drawings and I see that your first floor is designed to be 10 inches thick and your roof is 8 inches thick, that tells me that it was designed to be a roof, not a floor. If it were designed to build up, it would match that construction.
All right.
So, now I'm not a structural engineer. Can your jail be built to go? Absolutely, we can do anything with the right amount of money. Is it responsible use of funds? Probably not, but that's not my decision to make. But I can tell you that we've been designing jails. It's what we do, and we've done everything from small jail additions for counties all over the state to projects like federal penitentiaries in Terre Haute We did Guantanamo Bay, Camp 5 and 6. So we had the expertise, we had the experience, and if the Justice Project is something this county needs, we would be more than happy. I knew I was going to try. I'm just glad I didn't break it. I'd be more than happy to help you through that process, because it is a process. There's a lot of studying involved, which as I understand, you kind of already ventured into some studies, but we'd be more than happy to help you any way we can. But I didn't come to give you a long-winded sales pitch. I kind of I felt like this was more the immediate need. Are there any questions that I can answer?
The big question was, could we go up, and the answer was no, so thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah, I think easily the answer is no, but could we, if we had to?
If we were to add on,
Mhm.
whether that be a detached annex
Mhm.
or attached annex,
Mhm.
what would that entail as far as if we attached to our existing jail? We've been told different things as far as, well, then you've got to start all over on the jail as far as code compliance.
Bringing it up to code. Typically you do update your facility, and there's some fine lines that you can teeter, whether you, everything that you have to bring up. For instance, ADA is one of those fine lines that you have to bring up, because if you read the very front, all the legalese of the ADA code, it says, this is a place for lots of reasons, but it is not in place and is not enforceable for the project if it proves to be a financial constraint. Meaning, if you want to renovate a bathroom, but to make your bathroom ADA compliant means you got to rip off the exterior wall, add on, and your $3,000 new floor project just turned into $150,000. That would be an example where a financial constraint. Looking at this plan, though, this main corridor, this would be the main secure corridor where inmates would be taken back into the housing pods. This is sort of dead-ended out here. When I say dead-end, you could very easily be expanded in these pods built on out here. Now, I don't know what's over here. In fact, after we leave here, we're going to go tour the jail and walk the site.
I think the railroad tracks is here.
Okay, and that's probably active, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, that shoots that out.
Yeah, that shoots that.
But,
I mean, our real only open space to add on would be this one.
okay, well, and that's doable with this, because we've got another corridor here that comes out. Now your vehicular, oh no, that's outdoor rec. Your salary port is over here.
Salary port.
Yeah, yeah. So that could be a good solution, and that's something that we could study. It. That these drawings are.
I mean, I'm not
31
sure
years old.
exactly where the other existing building is right here.
Yeah.
So it would have to be the rec area is the only,
Yeah.
right behind the rec area, that's an open parking lot.
Okay.
That would be our only choice to
Mhm.
physically add on to the building. Now, we have a piece of property here that we're looking at that we thought somehow could be connected
Oh, okay.
here at the kitchen area
Mhm.
where we could transfer food and so on. But that's what we were wondering, if we attach it with a corridor or something of that nature, how much work would we have to do to the
Get
existing
into
jail?
that. Let me study that.
Okay.
And find out. Well, one of the operative questions is to understand. I know that, your facility's pushing 30 years old. How far out of code is it really? I mean, have you got a non-compliance letter from the state?
From the jail inspector?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know this isn't going to make you feel better, but so does every other county.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to the legislature and their Title VI people.
Yeah.
So they've got space in their prisons now that we don't.
That's right, and every county in the state is struggling now.
Yeah.
With that. A part of that.
We're writing letters to our legislators.
Yeah.
Tell them, take your Title VI people back.
Yeah, right, and they say, well, we're paying you for them, well, the $35 a day or whatever, that doesn't pay for your
That
jail
doesn't
addition.
pay
Then maybe
for-
in 30 or 40 years it does, but
Yeah, it doesn't pay for the brick and mortar.
that's right. That's exactly right.
It's just the daily care of them. Okay, well, we appreciate it, and I thank you very much for
Oh,
taking the time to come down,
You're welcome.
and like I told you the other day, we're pursuing options, we're looking at options, and we're trying to get a direction that we want to move towards. You know, maybe it will, maybe it won't include Elevatus. And
Yeah, well, I certainly hope it does, and I know that the gentleman that designed this was the architect of record, was my mentor, and he's still a very close friend of mine.
Okay.
And I know he'd get involved again.
Okay,
So,
all right.
not from a professional, I mean, I wouldn't bring him to meetings, but take him to
Yeah.
lunch and say, hey, what were you thinking?
Yeah, what in the world was you thinking? Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Helen. Interlocal contract with City for Grant Administrator. We need approval on that. Do I have a motion? Do
I'd
you have
make,
any questions?
I'd make a motion that we approve that with the city of Connersville for grant administrator.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. And we also have interlocal agreements with 911, probation, and community corrections for IT services, where they pay for so many, a portion of our IT director's
I had a
salary.
question about these. Does our IT do anything at the highway department as well, or why?
Yeah.
My
Cover
car.
highway.
Do you have highway?
Mhm.
Is there a reason we haven't received any funds for?
Well, this was something that was for the part-time. This is basically the departments of 911, corrections, and probation went in, this was 2014 when they originally did it, to half fund the part-time position. Because at the time it was just the IT director, and he was overwhelmed. So that helped catch up the slack.
Right.
But yeah, we cover the highway. The only thing really that we don't really cover per se, as far as IT, obviously Mike doesn't work, the part-time doesn't do anything with the city. That's just county side. But the only things I can think of is like we don't handle the township offices. We don't handle, those kind of things, but all the other stuff, yeah.
But I would assume that these three agreements are because they have outside funds from county
Yeah,
general.
they have grants that come in and they wanted to kick in money to
And I
guarantee themselves IT time.
I wonder why, I just wondered why we're not, because of the highway department having different funds, why we're not
Well,
sharing with the highway department as far as.
Well, we do go out, he goes out to the highway, we do go out there. It's just, one is, there's not that many users out there. You've got one person that uses the computer regularly. The other two, which is the mechanic Morris and Richard, they do use it some, but it's not like Angie uses it all the time.
You said that this covers half? of
Yeah,
that
it covers
cost?
half
Is
of
it
the
cut-
part-time.
Is it, do these agreements see an increase for next year's raises?
He doesn't get one.
He didn't, it didn't figure on him? Okay. All right, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that we were still covering half.
Yeah, it's, when the raises went up, I think 2 years ago or something, that was figured in. But that pays basically half his salary. But yeah, the highway, we just don't go out there very much because they don't call us very much.
Okay.
It's kind of a, whereas with probation, you know how many officers they've got. 911, they don't have a lot, but they've got a lot of use, and obviously a high need that when they've got a problem, you need to be able to get over there. And then corrections, we're always adding more people, so there's obviously a lot of computer use and time over there. Plus, they're a 24-hour facility, so the control desk is always going, so there's always stuff that needs done.
I would make a motion that we approve these three IT interlocal agreements.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
I appreciate the info. Under the highway contract, we sat down, or I sat down as a representative of the commissioners with the union. We negotiated a change to the contract under salaries, or wages, should I say. And we entered that proposal in budget hearings. It was approved by the county council. The last county council meeting, they approved that raise as an increase in the salary ordinance. And that would be a 50-cent increase in hourly wage for the highway department. And we've got a letter of addendum to sign today for that purpose. And I would make a motion that we do sign that addendum to approve the 50-cent increase in wage next year.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the addendum for the increase in the highway department wages. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Are there any patron concerns? Approval of claims and payroll?
I have one question before we
Okay.
do the claims. Payroll, we could do if you want, but Jane, I found that one that I had questions on. This statement of security. Used to do the expenditures.
Yes, it is.
Adrian,
Yes, sir.
can you look at those expenditures and tell me? How many on the wholesale radar through the state Homeland Security? That is the generator expenses. Okay. Question answered. I'd make a motion that we approve the claims and payroll as presented.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded for claims and payroll, and we'll sign after we adjourn the meeting.
I have one more.
All,
Oh, go ahead.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Colin, give me this. This is the lawsuit against the drug things.
Okay.
And this is for you guys to look at. If you want to look.
Is there a summary page?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to approve to go ahead with this, or have we already voted
No,
on this?
we've already voted on
I think
Okay.
it just needs to stay on
It needs to be
record.
signed?
that. Yeah, that's what they're doing right now.
Okay. This is on the lawsuit against the drug companies because of the opioid addictions and the unreasonable use of our jails.
I'll move to approve the claims and payroll.
I think we've already moved
Yeah,
and seconded
I
that.
think
we did.
And all in favor was aye, yeah. I would accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.